Good morning. Welcome in. Good morning. 7 o'clock here in the morning. It's still dark outside. Fall is officially here. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome in. Wisa Quilts is here. Thanks for joining. Let's give everybody a chance to wake up and get in here. Mark 75 is here. Rosy Cheeks is here. There's a line of fabric called Rosy Cheeks, by the way. And we've got Max, Sue, Billie Jean, Car Maker, Mark Car Makar. Fusion is here. Welcome. How is everyone today? It's hump day. Kate, Roxy, Dolphin, Duet, Kim's Bookshelf. Welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining. So today is my community support chat that we are going to talk about how to attract and keep buyers in your shows. And so everybody kind of put on your I want you to put on your buyer cap. So I want you to think from the perspective of a buyer during this show. So if you're here as a seller, you're all buyers too, because you've all been on the app. If anyone is a seller and you haven't bought something from someone else, you need to do that just to experience it from the other side. I'm assuming almost everyone has bought something. Is there anyone here in chat who has not bought anything on Whatnot? You earn the prize. Welcome in. Vonnie's here. Nudari's here. Lila Hin's here. Layla and Crystal, Jilly Bear. Yeah, and to get shipping supplies. Yeah, Vonnie. I know that's not true. I'd rather be crafting. Thanks for joining. All right, so we're talking about how to attract and keep buyers in your shows. So, from the seller's perspective, I want you to put on instead your buyer hat because we're going to try to get into the mind of buyers to figure out why they would want to stay in your shows. So, we have a new document that's actually not super new, it's been updated, and I have it pinned on the screen. And it is titled Attracting and Keeping Buyers, and it's a document that Whatnot created. And oh, by the way, I'm going to get a giveaway started here as soon as I feel like we've got most people that want to come in today. And this is a Whatnot fabric logoed coaster that I made. And it's got this cool damps on the back, and then it's not a coaster, sorry you guys, it's a bookmark. I have coaster on my head because I was going to make coasters too, and I only managed to make 2 bookmarks. That's what we're having today. So we'll get that started shortly. And it's just a really fun little bookmark that you can put on the edge of a page to hold your spot. So I guess it could be used as a coaster too, for a smaller cup. All right, so we'll start that short. All right, how many people do we have in here? 24 people in chat. Welcome in, everybody. If I didn't get to you personally, welcome, welcome. All right, so that document that I have pinned called Attracting and Keeping Buyers, they updated it recently. It's one that they had already published, Whatnot officially published, but they did update it a little bit. I want to just make sure everybody has a screenshot of that, and we're going to look at it briefly. And if you just tap the picture on your screen, and then tap it again. You can bring it up big like this. And then the first page is just a lovely picture. And then you can swipe left. And it talks about on the front page about coupons, flash sales, and free and reduced shipping. Okay. Those are strategies that you can use to help people want to come to your shows. But honestly, those three things are not going to keep them there, right? And then the next page talks about promoting and the rewards club. Also amazing tools, also will help, but also will not keep people in your shows. So what will keep people in your shows? Well, let's read a couple of the quotes that are on here. This is from Julie Becker. Who knows Julie Becker? And she says, I always recommend a loaded shop, except I can't, especially for new sellers. It's like a new, wow, my screen won't cooperate here. It's like a new store on Main Street, USA, but nothing is on the showroom floor. If there are no items loaded in the show, buyers have no idea what's for sale or what beautiful inventory is in the back room. Load up that buy it now and be willing to grab those items to show live and offer to drop price and run it on the spot. Be consistent. The more you show up, the faster you grow. All right, the most important part of that quote, hey, what goes around, welcome in. The most important thing in that quote was the last statement. The more you show up, the faster you will grow. Consistency. All right. I have a document that I've shared with you guys before. I need to get this printed in color. Should you get an LLC and an EIN? It's up to you. If you are wanting to do this full time, I would say probably. If you want to be able to file taxes separately, probably, but I can't advise you on the legals of that. So, yeah, you just have to look into whether or not it makes sense for what you're trying to do. Okay. All right. Let's do this document now. We're going to get this one pinned. And this one is called the 5 F's. Okay. All right, that's pinned on your screen. Again, just tap the picture of the document and bring it up big and take a screenshot. Okay. These are the things that really ultimately will help keep people in your shows. These 5 things. And then there's some other strategies. Number 1 is you have to have fun in your shows. People are coming to Whatnot, not just to shop. It's entertainment, it's social media, right? If you don't understand that about this platform, then you need to figure that out because this is not just for sales. That's not why people are coming. I mean, ultimately, that's the purpose of the platform, but that's not why people are coming. They are choosing to come here to be entertained and shop at the same time and have fun. So, this aspect of it all, ultimately, if you go and watch successful sellers, this is why people keep coming back. They enjoy going to those people's shows. For whatever reason, all the other stuff. I mean, obviously, they've got to have good stuff that they're selling, and that's another factor. But if you have fabulous merchandise, but your shows are not fun, it's not going to be there. Okay, it's not going to be there. This is the number one thing. You've got to have enjoyable shows that people want to be in. Okay. Number 2, it's got to go at a fast enough clip that people are going to want to stick around, because if it's not going fast enough and you're not running things and there's not engagement, um, and it's not fun, people are going to leave. So you've got to be running things, going at a pace that's quick, and so on. Okay. So that's important. And then the next one is findings. You've got to have good stuff that people want to see. That's part of the fun, right? The items that you're showing is part of what makes it fun. You have fun things people want to buy and see. And sometimes it's just they want to see it, because not everybody can buy in every show. Okay? But it's got to be those 3 F's, right? And then once you've got those 3 things to a certain, I can handle this, you've got to be able to fulfill your orders, and you've got to provide good customer service. Because no matter how great these are, we've seen some really awesome sellers who were really good at these 3 things go down the drain because they can't manage to fulfill and provide good customer service. So you could be doing this really good and be on a high and do really well for even, 6 months to a year. And then it's all going to come crashing down if you can't get your stuff shipped on time, shipped well, and provide good customer service. Okay. And then the last one is the same thing that we just mentioned: frequency. Frequency. If you're not here often enough to be relevant, you're not going to be relevant. So you've got to be on the app. You've got to immerse yourself in what you're doing and also be part of the community. How do you do that? Okay, you've got to show up. You've got to show up. If you schedule shows, you've got to be there for them. If you want to get yourself known out there, you've got to be in other people's shows too, networking. Okay. I would suggest a really good way, if you're new coming onto the app, is, and you want to sell and you have a little bit of time, start helping moderate or being active in chat and trying to help moderate shows. That's a really good way to get known and get out there. Vonnie says, I would add you learn new things by watching and the conversation. Absolutely. So if you're paying attention and watching how things work in shows, you're going to learn a lot of new things. Okay. I have homework for you today. I know, homework, that sounds horrible, right? You need to go and read a document that is on the frequently asked questions help.whatnot.com. And that is, let's see, I have it pulled up on the iPad so that we could look at it. So if you just go to help.whatnot.com and go to, let me get it pulled up on here. This article, type in the word discoverability. I know that's a big word. Okay, so understanding how discoverability works on Whatnot. So if you just type in the word discoverability, you'll find this article. You need to go read this article. It explains a little bit how the algorithms work on Whatnot to bring people to your shows. And it's interesting because they actually wrote this more from a buyer's perspective than from a seller, even though it's written for selling, because it's under selling and seller tools. But if you read it, it talks about the algorithms based on what a buyer would select for what kind of shows they want to go to be in. And then it kind of explains that. So, understanding algorithms is really important. And I know it's kind of a technical thing, and people might be like, oh. So Spirit Junkie, what are you asking? Really? Oh, geez, about what? um, I don't know. All right. So that article about discoverability, gives you a lot of insight. And it is kind of a long, couple, 3 page, no, it's only about 2 page read, but it helps you understand a little bit about the algorithms. Okay. And then the other homework you have is to go to the Whatnot YouTube account. And let me bring this one up. And you need to watch this video. Let me get back out here so I can show you. Okay, so we're on YouTube. This is the official YouTube account for Whatnot. Is ampersand Whatnot app. So all one word. Okay. And then this is the show that you need to watch right here. It is an update show that they did about a month ago. And in that show, Kenny interviewed Colleen, who is the, in a second, it's making me rate so that I can get back in here. Okay, the product, Whatnot product manager. Okay, and she talks about those kind of things, the algorithms, what makes people come to your shows and stay. Okay, and guess what? This is the same thing she talked about right here. Go listen to that. It was a show on the Whatnot Seller account here on YouTube. It was a great interview. Yeah, very great interview. You just said that we had homework. Oh, okay. No, it's okay. I was just like, what were you saying that about? I thought I missed a comment. So yeah, homework, right? All of us who I still have nightmares about college every once in a while. And homework. So yeah. All right. Yeah, Vonnie didn't know that existed. Yeah. So here's the interesting thing. A lot of people neglect to find all the resources that Whatnot has actually put out there. So if you look at my show notes on your screen, remember that in my show notes, I have those starred bullets. So let's open that up. Okay. Starred bullets, I have 5. So the first one is to go follow that Whatnot Sellers account that we just pulled up the interview from on YouTube. So that's where you can watch those live interviews. The second starred bullet is the Whatnot app that we were just looking at on YouTube, that account. The third starred bullet is to use the Seller Academy, and the fourth is help.whatnot.com, and the fifth is that Whatnot has a blog, and that's the address to their blog. There's some really good articles on the blog as well. All right, and they post things that are kind of more um like things that you would publish for the general public, but it gives you some insights. Like, for example, how many of you knew that Whatnot just recently got funded with an investor, um, what do you call it? Like where they raise money in investment. And there's an article that talks about how much it was and what they're planning on doing with that money. I think as sellers, that's important for us to know what their goals are, what they're trying to do. And yeah, venture capitalists, thank you. So they just recently did a big fundraising event and got a new investment amount of money. It's huge. And it will tell you in the news, and that's kind of what goes on the blog. But I think we as sellers need to pay attention to that because it helps us understand the trajectory of the company and where they're putting, their money, where their focus is and stuff like that, because it can help you stay on top of what's trending, what they are promoting more, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So also go to the blog and read that article or those articles that are on the blog. All right, let's get a giveaway started. Who wants one of my bookmarks? So everyone get in this giveaway fabric bookmark. And I'm fortunate enough to been around long enough. Maybe this is not fortunate, but when I first started selling and whatnot in the category that I sell in fabric and crafts, they actually had a couple of people that were whatnot employees who were dedicated to helping get this category started and running. And they had made like at Spoonflower or somewhere some whatnot fabric. They gave some away and they allowed us to buy some. And I have actually quite a bit of it because I have been given some of it by some of the people who bought it. Because we're not allowed to resell it, but we can use it and give it away. So I make things out of it to give to you guys. So cute little fabric bookmark, everyone getting that giveaway, and have yourself a whatnot bookmark. Thanks for joining, everyone. All right. So on your screen is pinned this document. Did everyone take a screenshot of it? Either by you, I mean, this is not as pretty of a copy as the one that you can pull up on your screen because I didn't take a chance to go print it in color. But if you pull it up on your screen like this and then take a screenshot of that, I think it's an important document to just review to remind you of all the things. Um, let's see, just curious, can sellers see when people leave their show? Well, you always have that little number, of how many are in, and you can actually see it fluctuate up and down as people come and go. So if that's what you mean on a basic level, yes. Um, and it will show you in your dashboard. So let me show you on if you're using web version to run your show, let me show you on here where you can look to see who is watching. So I can actually scroll through there. Okay. So it is only friends though. So if it's people that don't follow you, then it just shows you the ones that are there. And then the chat, it just shows you everybody here. And then you, of course, have your little number here that shows how many people are joining you live. And see how we have a few people that just dropped off, one dropped in. See how it fluctuates. So that's how you know how many people. But you don't have, other than them joining, you don't have an exact who's exactly there and who's coming and going. And also, people can have their app on privacy, so you don't actually see when they join, but they do show up in the number of people that are in the show. So yeah. All right, let me just navigate and make sure I didn't miss any questions. Okay, so another homework that I want you to do, okay, that's really important for this topic is you need to go and find 10 shows that you've never ever watched before in your life on Whatnot. Okay. And so what goes around says, I go in without being announced. I don't want to be seen going into 10 times in 10 times in 1 hour. Yeah. So if you have to leave and come back and go, but here's another thing. If the show has 50 or more people in it, it actually does not show people joining. So, because they have the algorithm set where they don't want the chat to be interrupted too much if you have 50 or more people in your show. So then it will not actually show them, that little joined, like Wendy just joined. That doesn't show up in chat if you have 50 or more people in the show. So keep that in mind. All right. And so I was talking about what was I talking about before I got distracted myself with that? I'm tired, you guys. I've had 5 hours of sleep for like 5 nights in a row. Do you get reporting later to say average length of time people stay? I don't think it shows that. It does show you the number of people in the show and the peak. So it shows you at what point was you had the most in the show, and it will show you average numbers in and new buyers and all of that. And that Stitch and Witch, you just got one of my fabric bookmarks. Congrats. Coming to you. All right. So if you go to your Seller Hub analytics for the show and go through all the different things, it will show you that. Oh, I was talking about the homework. Yes, going to visit 10 shows. And take a piece of paper and a pen. And I know this seems old fashioned, who uses paper and pen, but get a notepad and a pen. And while you're watching those 10 different shows, I want you to maybe write down their username, and then write down why. So have a column that is titled, Why Did I Want to Stay? And a column, Why Did I Want to Leave? So, make yourself put their username and then two different columns. Why did I want to stay? Why did I want to leave? And I actually want you to write down why you wanted to do this. You are so welcome. That's Stitchin' Witch. Shannon is headed to work and can't get into the details. Can I send you an email on an issue I need help with? Absolutely. Just message me on here and I will try and get back to you later today. Have a good day. All right. And then so you're watching these shows, right? Never been there, you have no clue. Maybe try a category that you don't regularly visit, but you're putting your buyer hat on, not your seller hat. Why did I, as a buyer, want to stay in that show? As a buyer, did I want to leave that show? Okay. And we all do that, right? You all shop hop. Everybody comes into the app. Oh, I don't like what they're showing, but we don't even consciously think about it. We're just like, we leave, we go somewhere else. Sometimes we leave because we are broke and we don't want to buy stuff. We want to stay, our entertainment, our curiosity, our I really want that stuff side of us wants to stay. But we're broke and we're like, I can't stay, right? That's a different reason. Okay. So do that for at least 10 shows or more, and it will give you some really, really good insights about what kind of shows you what kind of things they do that you want to stick around for or not. Faye West says, if it's loud and aggressive, I'm out. Yeah. But interestingly, some people love that vibe, right? So, yeah, BS Square Design says, I have to stay away from fabric shows because I want it all. Yeah, I get that. Okay. So, you have to decide, what things that you're doing is going to attract the kind of crowd you want to have in there and keep them there. And yes, there's all kinds of different shows, all kinds of different types of people, all kinds of different ways they do their shows. And, it will help you get some insight. So go to that. And then after you've done that, 10 thing, then I want you to go to the ones that you love, that are always in, and do the same thing, but put your buyer hat on. Put your buyer hat on. And it will give you some interesting perspective, especially after you've watched the ones that you've never been in, right? So, yeah. I'd like to see more craft shows, handmade sellers. There's a lot out there. I'd rather be crafting, but it's handmade is still a tough category just because the there's a lot of reasons why, but people who will buy that kind of stuff don't always know to find those shows, and they aren't necessarily all here yet. They're still going to some of the other platforms that are more known for handmade, if that makes sense. It is a growing category. It is growing, but it's, well, let's just say that not everybody appreciates all of that, right? So, yes, Shannon says, I did a craft show last night. I got amazing reviews on it. Customers were asking for more. Yeah. And here's the thing, it's also, um, you, when you do a demonstration show or you're crafting, keep in mind that in those types of shows, you may not have a lot of sales. It's more about sharing, what you do, your process. And a lot of the people that want to come, they're the ones that can learn how to make it themselves. They're not necessarily going to buy it from you. But what you can sell are the supplies, the kits, the patterns, and give people the ideas, right? So, what did you demo? What did you show? I'm excited to hear what you did. So, yeah, it is hard, but yeah, you can't sell something that you've spent hours making for $5. I agree. And so, because this platform in a lot of people's minds is come here for the bargains type mentality, that doesn't work really well with handmade. So we have to kind of get that category out of that mentality more into the I'm coming here because I'm getting amazing artists' work in all these different handmade type categories and crafts that I can, get a unique, amazing custom item. But the other part of that is that the way the app works, it's not, they're still not on board with allowing handmade makers to do custom work that takes time that then has time to ship later. So that's another problem is you still have that 2-day restriction and they don't want you selling something that you can't ship in that 2-day time. So that's another issue too. But you can, show, create, take custom orders. I just don't know how custom you can get because of that issue, right? So, yeah. Let's see. And what are we telling? You can do down payment to start, yes, but then what are you going to ship them in 2 days? See what I'm saying? Because if you sell a down payment to start making something, you still have to ship it. And there are a few sellers I've heard that have, I keep asking that question and I'm not getting a definitive response about people who have been given permission to have a longer shipping window without getting dinged. So, yeah, there's that. There's a handmade artisan raid train that starts this morning and ends tomorrow. So that's the other thing too. We all talk about it and we want it to build up, but are we bringing the buyers? Are we bringing the buyers? What are you personally doing and what are we collectively doing to get the word out to make it a big enough thing that Whatnot wants to pay more attention to it? That's the other part of it. We can't expect them to want to support it big if we aren't, as artisans bringing in huge amounts of buyers and having it be, the bottom line is what it is, right? Market Ma, I like when sellers write what type of show is going to be had in the show notes. I've noticed some sellers don't utilize the show notes. Yeah, I agree. I actually love show notes and I tell people to read them, but I've had other people tell me they never look at them. So tell me what's the consensus? Do you read the show notes? Everybody here in chat, do you read the show notes? I love to have show notes. In fact, I'm bugged when I go into a show. So everybody's saying that sometimes. Okay. I'm kind of bugged when I go into a show that I'm not sure what they're doing. Maybe I joined a little bit later and missed the opening, what we're doing, and they don't have show notes. I usually leave. That would be one of my, I left because I didn't know what the heck they were doing and they had no show notes. Right. So I love show notes and I utilize them heavily because I like people to just to understand what's going on. And it's easy if someone's asking questions like, um, where can I find you, where what are your shipping policies, what are you doing for shipping today. It's just like read the show notes, the show notes tell you I'm doing 921 max shipping, the show notes tell you the type of product we're running today, the show notes tell you what the giveaways are or whatever. So I love show notes, and yes, I utilize them heavily. um Yes, prepare show notes. And a tip about show notes. Thank you. My earrings were sourced here on Whatnot. I don't know that they're a licensed one, but someone made them with their 3D printer. Pretty cool, huh? So a hand maker. um, so in those show notes, you can do all those things. And a tip about show notes is create a kind of a template show note that you like, that has all the main things that you like to put in a show note, and put it on your phone in your little, if you're on Android, I don't know what it's called, but on Apple, it's your little notes app, and you just put it in there, and then every time you want to schedule new shows you just copy paste that in, and then you can add additional stuff to it, but it's like a template you've already got on your phone. Copy paste, bam. Right. So do that for show notes. So the seller that I got these from, I don't know the name. It was like almost 2 years ago. So I don't know, but you can probably search Whatnot earrings and see if they're still making them. Let's see. I hate when the thumbnail is so beautiful. Then when the show opens, it looks like they are in a basement somewhere. Yeah. Yeah, that happens a lot. They have this gorgeous thumbnail and then you open the show and it's like, they're sitting on the floor with a box of crap, or something. Yeah. So, kind of make sure the vibe matches what you're showing, right? Only if it's mentioned to read the show notes, but I'm so new that it's been an afterthought. I'm selling socks and mention it in show notes now. Okay, cool. But that's another thing too, is consistency with your show notes, your thumbnail, your title, all those things. Oh, thank you for your purchase. All those things need to be kind of, and then the vibe in your show, that kind of needs to match too. So, and I need to work on that a little bit. I mean, you come into my shows and it's just shelves full of fabric. That's an okay picture, right? Because that's what I sell. And that's what my thumbnail and my title reflect. Thank you so much for your purchases. And yes, I have fat quarters on flash sale. So if anyone wants me to pick them out, a random fat quarter, I have those on sale. Okay, so let's talk about some strategies to help get people. Let's talk about those algorithms. Okay, so one of the algorithm things that really makes a huge difference in getting people to come and getting them to stay is how active your chat is. Okay. What can you do to have an active chat? So everyone starts spewing the things that you feel like help get you an active chat. And I'll tell you some ideas that I think work as well. First of all, you've got to be talking and asking questions and getting responses. Okay. And it needs to be natural, not canned, because people aren't going to respond to just, you know, random weird stuff that is uncomfortable and awkward that it's really canned. So just regular conversation. Yes. Polls, asking questions, let's see, topics that are prepared, moderators, open-ended questions that people will respond to, asking what they make, let's see. Yeah, all those things. Okay. Vonnie, I agree with you. If a seller's area doesn't look clean, I leave, right? Because you're like, especially we buy fabric, right? And if you're watching them sell and everything's all junky and dusty and weird, you're like, what's my fabric gonna feel like and smell like? And yeah, gross. Okay, so Pete, yeah, make sure your area looks clean and nice and inviting and people want to stick around. Um, let's see, responding timely to comments, that's huge. And it's super annoying to go into shows and people are constantly asking questions and no one in the show ever responds. That's one of the things that makes me want to leave, right? You know, if someone's asking, especially if you go in and people are like, can you run this? Can you run that? And no one responding, you're like, they don't give a crap about what I want. So I'm leaving, right? Let's see. Sporadic says I got stuff that have cigarette smoke on it and it makes me upset. Yes. And you're not going to go back and buy from that seller. That needs to be disclosed, right? Especially those of us who buy fabric. Um, just a little hint there, tip there. Probably don't source fabric that smells. And if you do happen to find some amazing fabric that has any kind of smell that was worth saving, and you aren't willing to wash it, you need to absolutely 100% disclose that up front. All of this has this issue, and I'm selling it for cheap because, and you want to save it, right? Because we all want to save fabric, right? Because if you go and to an estate sale and someone's got a stack of vintage Alexander Henry and it smells like smoke, you're still going to want to save it, right? But you've got to disclose that. You got to disclose that. Okay. And be very upfront about it. Billie Jean says, I like how your husband reads the chats and gets the comments going as a convo with you two. Yeah. And it does help to have someone there. If you have someone to help sell with you, if you don't, it is harder, but it still can be done. Let me give you the name of someone, a seller that you need to go watch who is an expert, and not all of us can be this talented. But how many of you have ever watched the Hodgepodge Place? That seller, Hodgepodge Place. Um, the woman she goes a million miles an hour with her chat, and she's not really my vibe, but she's a master of keeping the conversation going. She can talk a million miles an hour and have a conversation going and interact with the chat. She reads the comments and she sells most of the time by herself, you know? So it's amazing. It's amazing. If you can get that skill, you can do it. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I try really hard to always describe fabric that I'm selling really well, how it feels, if there's any issues with it, because I want people to be happy with what they buy. I'm not on here to sell, stuff that people don't know exactly what they're getting. I mean, I know it's hard to always get color exactly right or texture, and I probably overdo it. People are probably standing there in my show going, would you just sell the dang thing? Because I'm like, it feels like this and it looks like this, and look what you could do with it, blah, blah, blah. I probably overdo it, but I would rather overdo it and have people be happy than underdo it and people are getting stuff they didn't really want, because I want them to be happy with it, right? Trying hard to read the chat in my shows with glasses and a big screen, still a challenge. Yes, that is a challenge. Just work on, your setup, figuring out where, you can place things to see better. Um, If you have to get one of those things that magnifies that goes in front of a screen that are for visually impaired people, you can do things like that as well. Let's see what goes around. I had an item that the buyer said smelled like cigarette in the comments. I think she should have contacted her first to make it right because it was, yeah. Yeah. So absolutely. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, hodgepodge. You guys are saying, yeah, she's so fast. I never thought of small. It wasn't in my face, but it happened. Yeah. Okay. Never Miss Fine says I start nearly every morning watching her and then come to see Drazza. Oh, yeah. So she's on almost every morning. Yeah. Okay. And she's a lot of fun. I think she gives out a little bit too much information, but she shares her life, and that's a part of what keeps people in her shows, right? Because it's like you're immersed in this lady's life and everything she does, and it's like just boom, 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 and she sells and she's fast and people stick around and she does, all those good things. Hey, Jean's eyes in the chat. Everybody, good morning. Listen to everything Trav says. I don't know if I listen to everything I say, but probably you should listen to everything George says, right? I'm feeling like George is the mastermind, but I don't know. Maybe it's actually Jean's eye. Who is the true mastermind behind Jean's eye? It's the mystery we all want to know. Who does all the groundwork? All right, Beck Spin says, I own an estate sale company and sell stuff, so I'd like to mention that I don't know much about it. I price accordingly. Yeah, exactly. Because if you're selling estate, you just find all kinds of stuff. So you describe it the best you can. But honestly, if you're doing that and you can price it accordingly, people are more forgiving if they look at it and you're like, I think this, I think that, but you don't know, it's okay. Because the obviously people understand what perspective you're coming from because you can't be an expert on every item that crosses your finger when you're selling estate or thrift or all of that stuff, right? Yeah, behind every good man. I agree with you on that, Jean's Eye, right? That is the correct answer. Okay. So Jean and I are very fortunate because we have spouses that like to do this with us, or that we convinced, or I don't know, maybe we both have the hot iron to our spouses. You guys will never know, but they make a big difference in our shows. So we have that fun interaction. We have, a person to help us. And if you can find someone that can be your sidekick or your partner in crime or whatever you want to call it, not crime, that's a bad way to say it. It's going to really help you, and sometimes it just means showing someone in your life that you're being successful at this, because how many of you started doing this and everyone in your life looked at you like you're nuts, and then when you start showing them the numbers, and I think that's how it happened with Jean, right? She starts showing him how it's going and George is like, I'm here, right? um Bert was with me all along, but he's, definitely gotten the vision more and more. Okay. So Backspin says, me and Mel are Abbott and Costello for the Gen Xers. Yeah, exactly. How do you price things when you're at an estate sale or flea market? I've seen some going. The ones that I've seen, it's always just double of whatever someone's selling it for. So if you're at an estate sale, because it's really hard to not divulge what they're selling it for, right? So people just pick it up. If it's $10, you run it for 10 because you've got to pay for your time and your money to be there. I don't honestly know how the people who go live from estate. Oh, thank you so much for the tip. Who was that? Heidi, thrifty but nifty. Thank you so much for the tip. Um, you know, because honestly, I would rather shop, not have people see the price and then I'm selling it for what I feel like I can get out of it. But if you're live selling, which is so much fun, and I love live selling, I honestly find myself in live selling shows a lot just because I love the treasure hunt. That's just part of my psyche, you know. But how do you price it, to make it so that it's a fair deal for the person buying, but also you're making something on it? Yeah. So that's an issue with that, right? Jeans, I said right. I had to prove myself and wanted an assistant. Yeah. Um, all right, let's see. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything in questions. Let's see. Yeah, shipping is opening a can of worms. Can I message you to ask you a question about shipping? Yes. So shipping, here's my thing about shipping. You need this document that I'm going to pin right now, and then you need to go watch my YouTube on shipping. So the document I'm pinning right now is going to help you decide how to set your shipping settings when you're new. And then as you become more established, you can mess with that. Because honestly, the key is the how many people do you have in your show and what volume are you selling at? That changes the whole game for shipping. Okay, depends on what you're selling, how much you're selling, and how many people you have in your shows. And then on the back end, you can do things to manipulate shipping. But when you're new, you don't want to sync your shipping. And so this document that I just pinned, thank you, Backspin, for the tip. That was very generous of you. So on my YouTube channel, which is in the show notes, I have a show on my lives that is called Don't Sync Your Shipping Part 2. I've done it twice. The updated one is the one you'll want to watch, but also go watch the older one because there's nothing like drastically different, and there's different information in both depending on what kind of questions people asked. So go watch both of those. Don't Sync Your Shipping. It has a little ship emoji in the title. And if you go watch those two shipping shows, it kind of helps you because the shipping is really about what type of items you sell. Okay. Graham's quilt and things. I just don't see it. What don't you see, Graham's? Um, did you Can you not? Oh, bottom of the screen. Oh, yeah. So let me show you on here. So the choosing basic shipping settings is right here pinned in the shop. Tap it again, bring it up big, and then you can take a screenshot of this and zoom in to read it. Okay. And I wish that we could provide links better for people to go to things, but you can go to all the official whatnot links, but they won't let us sell PDFs yet. And we're not allowed to put links outside of whatnot in our messaging. So that kind of makes it hard for people to find things, I know. But my YouTube channel, if you can manage to get there, let me just show you on YouTube. So here I am on YouTube. Okay. And if you just go into the search bar on YouTube and type in use the @ and then Draz on whatnot is my username. Hit search, and it is right here with my logo. See that? So you have to type it in with the username. All right, and that's my account. And then you need to go to the lives. So here on the menu under live. So here's the lives because I multicast on here. And then you need to go down and find the one that has the little ship emoji. It's not too far down because it wasn't too long ago. And I do go in and delete some of the regular shows so that it's mostly the seller chats that are on here. And here it is, right? Oh, I found the old one, but not the new one. Here it is, right here. See the little ship emoji? So that live is the one you want to watch. And I'm in front of the camera. I went through and showed you all the boxes and packaging. We talked about all of that. And if you use those two documents, you should be able to figure it out. And then, like I said, on the back end, you can manipulate some things to a certain extent. Okay. I'm all fancy with my music. What music do I have on YouTube? Oh, some of the videos I've posted. Let's see. I have received canvas material that was supposed to be cotton. What do you mean by canvas? Like an acrylic canvas instead of being cotton? All right, let's see. It's hard to, let's see. It is hard because 4 is in the range that goes up to 7. Oh, so the generic range weights that they put in for you to use, you don't have to use those. You can create custom shipping profiles. Because if you use the ranges, it always defaults to the highest number. So if you have an item that weighs 4 ounces and you choose the 4 to 7 ounce range, then it will put it at 7 ounces. And then if people buy 3 items at 4 to 7 ounces, it's going to be over a pound. And if the 3 items actually were under, see what I mean? So you can put in custom profiles that are are an exact weight of the item plus the packaging, if that helps you. Okay. But ranges protect you in some ways because it protects you to make sure you have enough weight and not too low, a lower amount of weight. But here's the other thing on the back end. If I have a document in here also that is if you go in here, it's kind of interesting to look at. Let me pin this for you. So this is the USPS commercial pricing for shipping, the one that I just pinned, if you want to look at that. So this is what Whatnot uses for Ground Advantage for everything under a pound. This is how it's calculated. And it's based on the range of miles away you are from the buyer. So yeah, totally unrelated, but your makeup is on point. Thank you. Um, so yeah, the you need to look at that because it helps you to understand why one person who's in your show is telling you that it's calculating 465 and then the other person it's $6 and something. It's because of where you live based on where they're buying from. So that's why it's different. And then on the back end, if someone bought something that, let's say you entered it as a 4 to 7 ounce item, and then on the back end, you go to ship and it actually ended up being 9, you can just adjust it to 9 because everything in that range of under 1 pound, as long as it's under a pound, it it's not going to charge you extra. It's not going to use one of your adjustments to just up it a few ounces or down a few ounces. You can change it when you go to ship it. Okay. Let's see. I noticed only 1 to 10% of people leave feedback. Yeah, and that's normal. And you can do things to try and increase that. The best thing you can do is just be an amazing customer service person, meaning you thank people all the time. You put notes in your orders. People are more likely, statistically, more likely to leave a review if you put a personal note in their shipment. And it's time, but just a little, handwritten, thank you so much. We appreciate your business, and put a sticker. And of course, new buyers, you should always do something extra because you want them to come back. Make sure it's packed really nice. Not that you don't pack nice for everybody, but take a little bit extra care with a new buyer with a handwritten note, a little gift, to really make sure they want to come back and that they're going to leave you a good review. Because if you want good reviews and you want more reviews, you've got to give when they open that package, they want to be like, wow, I need to go leave a review. This was an awesome experience from start to finish. Loved the show. Loved what I bought. It's exactly what I saw. I got my package, I opened it, and I'm thrilled, you know? And that their experience with you was so much more amazing than experiences they've had with other sellers that they're more inclined to want to leave a review, right? So the little things that you can do make a huge difference and go a long way for people wanting to come and be in your shows and stay in your shows. Okay. So little things. All right. So you've got a lot of homework to do. I can't explain all of those things about algorithms and about what makes people want to stay and leave. And again, remember what makes people want to stay in your show versus leave in your show is different for someone else. Because, like Faye was saying earlier, if she goes into a show and it's like loud and aggressive, that's not her vibe. But someone else is like, bring it on, and they love that, right? So always remember too that your tribe is different than someone else's tribe, and don't be upset that you can't attract every buyer because you're not going to. It's just not going to happen. Everybody connects with different kind of people, and because this app is all about making personal connections, you tend to want to go to the show and be with the people that you like to be with, that are your type of people, right? So that makes sense, right? Let's see, heavier material to make bags out of. Yeah. So that's why it's important to describe and keep in mind and give grace to people who are selling fabric who don't know anything about fabric. So that's why it's important as a buyer if you ask a lot of questions before you buy it. So, you run that risk of someone, they're like, it's canvas. I don't know if it's made out of cotton. They don't know fabric. So give grace to people who don't know fabric. If you're going to buy from people who bought a storage locker, who bought an estate, and they don't know fabric, usually they're selling it cheap, and that you run that risk of getting something that wasn't described the way you thought it was. But, that happens. Can I ask if bin purchase a custom profile single ship item will bundle with my reduced shipping settings show, or will bin purchase still ship separate? So if they buy it in your buy it now in the show, during your live show, it will ship bundle with the items you're selling in the auction. If they buy it out of your marketplace, like you don't have it available in the show, and they go out to your marketplace and buy something, even if you're live during the time they buy it, it will not bundle it. It will have to ship separately because it wasn't available in the show. Only items purchased in show ship bundled with items from the show. Okay. Let's see. Oh, thank you. All right, let's see. Jello says, I know there's a setting to allow outside sound to be heard, such as music playing, but I can't find that setting. Do you know what this is? It's actually not a setting. It's automated. So they have programmed the software to hone in on the human voice speaking and block out more of the outside noise. So if you have music playing, it will be lower. I mean, obviously, if you have it sitting right next to your phone, that's a bad idea because there's copyright, or what do they call it? Not copyright. Anyway, there's restrictions on music and playing it too loud, and they can hear it, and you aren't paying the royalties to be able to be allowed to play it. So you have to be careful about that. But it does actually not mute, but reduce the sounds automatically in when you're live streaming, because they had issues with, people would be doing a live and like um something would fall or something, and all of a sudden everybody in the show's eardrums about burst because it was close to the camera or something. So they had to do things to mitigate that because it was an issue with those background noises being too loud. So that's an automated thing. Let's see. Hen Pen says, I make quilts and I have asked this if this is quilt material and was told yes, and then received a heavy canvas. Yeah. But that's again what I was saying, not everybody selling fabric knows enough about it. And if are purposely doing that, then, that's too bad, and they're not going to have you back as a buyer, right? So they need to try and describe it accurately and not be deceptive. So make sure, yeah. Let's see. Spirit Junkie says, I'm wondering if I should put bin items from reduced shipping shows. I'll pull. Yeah, Spirit Junkie. If you have bin items that are going to be a problem with bundled shipping, then don't put them in shows where you're doing reduced shipping. And it's easy enough to remove them. So just on your mobile device, when you're in your show, you've created your show and you've, cloned everything over. Just go into your show and remove that item from live. So let me pull up this show and I'll show you how to do that easily. Okay, so here we are in this show, right? And if I've got my show set up, I've got everything in my buy it now. So I go into my buy it now, and let's say that, let me see if I have something that would be a good example. Maybe this mug. I'm like, maybe it's a huge mug and it's heavy, and I just don't want to deal with it if someone's going to buy it with other stuff I'm selling that day, because this has to be bubble wrapped and whatever. So then I just click the little thing here and I just remove it from live show. It's now gone. No one can buy it. Okay, that's that simple. So just do that. Go through and remove the items that you don't want to have in that show. Okay, easy enough to do. And then you don't have to like worry about when you clone. You just clone them all over and then go through and remove the few that you maybe don't want. Yeah. Okay. Where can I find your pinned items? So if you just hit the shop on your screen, so here we are in the show on the screen, right? And you just hit the shop. And then the ones that are the documents I'm sharing are in auction. So just switch from buy it. It defaults to buy it now. Switch it to auction. And here's all those documents. And you can just go through everything in there and screenshot all the information that you want on all of those. And some of them are multiple pages. And so you just click the picture, click it again, and then swipe to see the different information. Okay. And this one that I just was showing on my screen, I mentioned this at the beginning of the show. Oh, and by the way, I'm going to get the other giveaway started. So everybody getting this giveaway. So this is another Whatnot coaster that I made with Whatnot fabric. So everybody getting that giveaway. So someone else will get one. But yeah, this article that I talked about, this is in the Whatnot help.whatnot.com frequently asked questions. Go into your account and go to frequently asked questions and type in this word, discoverability. I know that's a long word, but type it in and then find this article that I have and read this article. It gives you a lot of insight about how the algorithms work and how to get people to come into your shows. So, what are the main things that are going to get people to come into your shows? The main things, other than, you already have a lot of bookmarks and you already have a big following, the other things that you need to be doing are you have to have an active chat and you need to be running your items. They reward you when you run and sell. The more you're running and the more you're selling, the more they are going to feature your show higher up in search. and show it to more people. And then one of the other things is you have to have a good standing with trust and safety. So when you go to your account, you have a little thing in your seller hub that is the trust and safety that tells, how many returns or cancellations or, bad reviews, all those things. If you have a good trust rating, you will be featured higher in chat or in search. Okay. All right. Let me see. I'm missing some questions here. Let me make sure I can get to them. We got raids. Did I miss them? Who raided us? Thank you for the raids. I'm sorry, I'm over here yakking. Let me get the raid pulled up here. So Kristen Swain rated us. She's an awesome crafty seller and she's adorable and her husband's hilarious. Like George and Bert have nothing on Jeremy. Did I get his name right? So he's hilarious. So when he does have when he is in her shows, which is not often, he's hilarious. Thank you so much for the raid. Everybody give Kristen Swain a follow. She's a delightful seller in the crafting category. She also always has amazing stuff. Always, always. Okay. And then the other one is Native Timber Studios rated us 9 minutes ago and I missed it. So sorry. So Native Timber, thank you for the raid. Appreciate that. Okay. See, this is what happens when I don't have Bert helping me. So when I do these shows, he's off at the gym working out. So I do them in the mornings. All right. Laura K says, I'm a fabric seller. How do you track your fabric purchases versus sales? I know it's a random question. How do you track your fabric purchases versus sales? So you go into your account in the seller hub, that's all the seller stuff. In your personal account under orders, those are the things you've purchased. Is that what you're asking? So it's completely separate. So when you sign up as a seller, you have access to the seller hub, and that shows you all your selling stuff. And in your own personal account, stuff you purchased is under orders. So that's the difference. Yeah. And if I didn't, and if that's not what you're asking, let me know. Do you follow everyone that follows you? The answer to that is no. But what I do is in these seller chats, people who have been in my seller chats, I try to follow back. And I also, when I have a show, I go see new followers and people that have purchased from me, I definitely follow back. But once you get to a certain level of followers, it would be pretty hard to follow everyone back. So, but I do try to follow back people who've purchased from me and who come into my seller chats. So, yeah. VT Farm Girl says, I got a package with postage due. How does that happen? So, let me tell you about that. We're getting a winner who gets to get the Bat Mom. Congrats. You're getting my whatnot bookmark that I made. Congrats. So thanks for being here, everybody, and participating. All right. It happens because someone used either the wrong label for the wrong type of package or they sent it underweight. And you should not be doing that. So be careful if you're selling things under, like if you decide that you're going to sell under one weight, which a lot of sellers do, that's fine if you're doing flat rate and on the back end, it doesn't really matter. But if someone comes in and only buys one item and it actually weighed a pound and you sold it at 4 ounces, that's a problem, especially if you print the label at 4 ounces. You may or may not get caught, but it may end up like that where it gets postage due to your customer. Do you want your customer to get a package from you that they have to pay the postage due to pick it up? Not cool. Not cool at all. So make sure your weights are accurate. And there have I haven't seen it happen on Whatnot, but on another platform that I've sold on, the post office does actually track things and go back and do audits. And they will charge back to the shipping provider, which in our case is Shippo, which then will charge back to the platform, which is Whatnot, who then will charge back to the sellers. That does happen. It has happened in the past. I know some sellers who were cheating, so to speak, selling everything at a lower weight, and then, for because it does increase your sales because people like the lower shipping, right? But then they were sending packages underweight and they were going through, but the post office does do audits and they charge back to the shipping provider, charged back to the customer. And there were sellers who got charged back on the platform thousands of dollars because they had been doing that for years. Don't do it. It's not worth the risk. And you also don't want your customers getting packages postage due. That's embarrassing. Trust issue, they won't shop with you again, right? Okay. Yeah. So yeah, that's not cool. Okay. Bex Bin says I recently lost a snippy customer because I stuck up for a fellow seller. Sucks, but I know there's nothing we can do about it, but worth it. Yeah. I mean, choose your battles and be careful. Because you also don't want to come across as a interrupter or a nosy, or so be careful, choose your battles. But if you feel like it was worth it, great, stick up for someone. All right, let's see. Let's see. We got, okay, I need to catch up here, you guys. Hang on a second, let me get back into my chat and catch up here. Okay. Grana Chris, why do people just show their stuff and not run it? Aren't they losing the impulse buys? Absolutely. Yeah. Um, so one of the big sellers on the platform who coined the term RS or RTS, and it has a bad word in it, so I'm not going to say it. Run that crap is Corey, and he like helped us all realize, if you don't run your stuff like constantly, then you're missing out big time. So run your stuff. Run your stuff. There's no, I mean, and it's human nature sometimes if your show's like kind of, it's like we kind of are like, oh, I don't want to run it. Um, if you show it, run it. So don't show it if you don't want to run it, right? First of all, and just run your items, because running your items is what gets that going. And you literally cannot sell an auction item if you don't run it. It cannot sell. It functionally cannot sell. So run your items. It's what gets it going. When you're new, if you can't afford to sell something for $1 or $2 or $3, don't price it at $1 or $2 or $3. Price it at what you're willing to sell it at and run it. People will buy it. If you have nice items and people see it and it's a good price, they're going to pay for it. You don't have to be scared that if you run things, if you're not running things at $1 or $2, that no one's going to buy it. That's not true. And in fact, it's the opposite. People may bid on it, but they're going to feel icky about it and weird about it, that they're buying all your stuff for super cheap. And it's just, I mean, they'll do it because they're getting a good deal, but they don't feel good about it because they know that it's undervalued, right? So don't sell it low price if you can't afford to sell it at low price. Just price it fair and run it. Run, 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 run. And then when you get the numbers that you need to have in a show, you can start doing lower price, and maybe you do it just every once in a while. So, like in the show that I did yesterday, we just did a count, and every so many sales, I did $1 start to reward the chat. If you have a big enough audience, you can do low starts. It's not about the starting bid, you guys. It never will be. The starting bid means nothing other than it builds excitement, but it's not about the starting bid because things will sell for what they're going to sell for based on other factors, right? How many people you have in the room? Do people actually want it? Um, so don't undervalue your items by thinking you have to start at low bids. Okay. I don't understand why people show a whole table of stuff and then ask anyone, want me to run anything? Yeah, no one's going to respond usually, right? You do need to ask questions like, what types of things are people looking for? It's not a bad idea to engage in that way, but if you show it, run it, and we all make that mistake all the time still sometimes in shows because we get nervous, we don't know, it's not going well, but just run it. Okay. Let's see. Was in your show and something that didn't sell, you ran about an hour later and it sold. Exactly. Exactly. So if something doesn't sell, you set it aside, you think about it, and you've watched for the opportunity to sell it later because something else similar sold. You've got to read the chat. You've got to be tuned in to who you've got there, what they're going to buy, and maybe it didn't sell and you bundle it with something later or whatever, and you just never know who's there, so you've got to be able to read the audience. Jello says, I have placed most of my stuff and buy it now, so it's there all the time, but how do you handle that during a live show if you want to run them? You just run it. Okay, so if you have something in your buy it now, it doesn't mean that, if no one's looking at your buy it now, just start running stuff out of your buy it now. So go into your buy it now and you just choose an item. Okay, here's an item. And I'm just going to options, um, feature it in the show, and then I'm going to run it. Okay, so if I just have it whoops, let me get back in here. Why is it doing that? Run as auction. That was what I was trying to get it to do. So there's your option. You just click the item, run as auction, and there you just start it. There you go. Boom, it's running. So that item's now running. Okay, that's how simple it is. And you should use your buy it now as that. Your buy it now is one of your best tools. How many shows do you go into still who have nothing in their buy it now? They are losing out big time on huge opportunities to sell more stuff. Not just the passive, it's in there. People might go look and buy something. It's there. And when something you have in your auction is not selling, you have another thing already loaded, ready to go that you can run as a flash sale, run it as just a regular auction, hold it up, show it, run it as an auction. You can feature things, you can do variations of things. There's so much you can do with buy it now items that you can't do with auction items. So load your buy it nows with items so that you can do all those other things. Flash sales, run as auction, all that stuff. It's already there. Okay. So make sure you have stuff in there. And that also kind of goes with that idea that if you want people to come to your shows, they need to see some of the stuff you have, especially if they're new to you. Because even if you're an established seller, you always need new buyers. You need a fresh batch of buyers all the time because not everybody can spend all their money every day, right? It just, I mean, some people do, and then it's a bad problem, and then they're back on selling it, right? But but you've got to have new buyers coming always. How do they know if they want to come to your show if you have nothing? They open the show to preview what you're going to sell and it's empty. You have one listing in your auction for, I'm going to sell some stuff, but they can't see it. You're not live yet. Why do they want to bookmark that show and come back? Get some stuff in your buy it now that shows what kind of stuff you sell. Give them some options of why they want to come. And they will also, here's another big cue about those buy it now items and items in your auction, both. When someone comes into your show, pre-show, to see what you're going to offer. So here's a show that I have scheduled for tomorrow. Oh, and by the way, whoever wants Tim Holtz, I've got a new batch of really awesome Tim Holtz. Make sure you have that show bookmarked for tomorrow. Okay, so Tim Holtz show, right? If someone goes into your buy it now in that show that's scheduled for another day, and let's say they're looking and they're like, "Oh, I really want that, but I'll wait for the show to buy it because it's in the show buy it now." Okay, so you find that item and see all these little 6 people, 4 people. So those are things people have opened and looked at, right? And when they do that, when you go live, it actually notifies them that that item is now live. Did you know that? So if you don't have items in there, that's another way the algorithms work, is that people have gone in, opened that item and looked at it and want to be notified when it goes live. So if you have listings, it lets people know you're on. Okay. So Draz, a thought. I recently heard to read profile of the person who rated, and I think the seller who rated really appreciated that. Yes. And I've been doing that in my regular shows. When I get rated, I try to take a second and show their profile. And the person who originally started talking about that was Awesome Aaron. So I give him the credit. He always does that. And it really does help. It helps the seller feel appreciated and give them a little bit of notice other than, because, honestly, the truth is, when someone, says people can promote or even buying a sponsored giveaway, how many bookmarks and followers do you really get? Mm, but if you actually share someone's profile, show their upcoming shows and shout them out, I think it's going to go better for them and give them. And we want raids, right? Raids make a huge difference in a show. You can be having a pretty crappy show and get a raid and it turns it around like huge, right? So raids are can be everything, especially for a smaller seller, right? Yep, yep. So one big seller will reward Raider with a 2-minute co-host. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, if you have time to do that, they'll you have to be careful though, because you've got to have a balance of not derailing your show and being able to sell and keep your momentum up and also, keep people in. So be careful with that, because if you took 2 whole minutes to co-host someone and people were in the buying mood, are you going to lose your seller or your buyers? So be careful with that. But yeah. So let's see. I was in a show where the lady had good prices on Cafe. Just a second, I've got to shut this off because it's making noise. And I was buying, but she would grumble every time I bought. The next show prices doubled. Yeah, don't that's my comment. Don't sell it for what you're not willing to sell it for. It's that simple. Okay? If you're going to be grouchy about the price people are paying for the stuff you're running, don't sell it for that price. Simply price it at what you want. If they want it bad enough, they'll buy it. End of story. And if you need to sell, if you're really desperate and you need to sell some items, then you've got to be willing to let them go for a lower price if no one's buying, or just don't run them at all. I mean, it's that simple. Okay? How do you feel about people who ask if they can promote their show? Honestly, in my shows, as long as people aren't like trying to take over the chat, I've always been fine with it, but I prefer, and it is actually against terms of service to just blatantly come in and promote your show, right? It's against terms of service. You should have the seller giving permission. Um, so I think from a seller's perspective, because I want to be community minded, I have certain times during my shows where I'll say, "Hey, anyone that's a seller," and I know you do this too, Jean's Eye. Anyone that's a seller, put an emoji in chat or something like that, and then it gives those people an opportunity to kind of get noticed and, you know, but a huge take over the chat kind of thing, no, because I mean, that take kind of distracts from your show, right? But give people an opportunity, maybe during giveaways, maybe when you're doing one of your little games or something in a show, take a little break and let people promote. So yeah. Um, let's see. Let's see, I grumble every time he starts my premium fabric at 5. No, so that's different though, because I mean, you're like, it's not like you're pissed though when it sells. It's not like you like, I don't know, you come across different. I know what you're saying, but it's different. It's different if you're like, I can't believe he just ran that or something, whatever. That's more fun. That's more the banter, right? Versus someone who's got this look on their face or or the sound of their voice. You're just like, you don't want to be there. It's like the grumpy person that you don't want to be with. That's different. Um so yeah. Asking is promoting. Exactly. That's true. That's true. But technically, that's what the terms of service say is that you have to ask for permission. So be nice if someone asks. And what I would usually do is say something like, "I allow people to promote during giveaways," or something like that. And then now that way they can wait to promote, to actually start talking about it. Let's see. I was in a show this morning and I left because she kept complaining that no one was buying. Yeah. Yeah, don't do that. If you're going to go live and run things, it's if people are grouchy about it, no one's going to want to stick around. So don't do that. So if that's your personality and that's your vibe, maybe selling on whatnot's not for you. Just saying. Okay. Um, Sighing repeatedly. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, okay, let's look at this again, right? Number one reason people want to be in your shows, fun. If you're sighing and complaining that people aren't buying and bidding, is that fun? No, it's awkward and weird, and no one wants to be there, right? So, I mean, they're going to fail. They're going to fail. It's the sad truth, right? Go sell on a platform where you don't have to sell live and interact with people. I'm sorry. That's the hard facts. Because this app is all about going live, having fun. It's interactive. People come here for entertainment, not always just the buying part of it. It's both. Okay. They want to be talked in to buying your stuff. They want it to be so much fun that they feel good about buying it, right? You know? Let's see. What are we bantering about that you're going to have to kick someone's shin? Oh, George, kick his shin under the table. Yeah, well, you probably do. He probably has bruises. Yeah, you might get reported for that. Spouse abuse, right? No, just kidding. Let's see, totally different. I think my cave seller didn't have the audience. Right, exactly. They don't have the audience. Because in a normal show with a big enough audience, Cave is definitely gonna sell, right? But maybe she didn't even advertise that she was gonna have it. Because how did anyone know that she was gonna have Cave? You ought to be advertising it. If you have some hot stuff, it ought to be in your thumbnail, in your title, or at least in a video, and you should have been sharing it for a while, right? So that is one risk, that when you do shows where you don't have it curated for a type, if you pull out the hot stuff like Jean's talking about, you run the risk of not having the audience for that item. So be careful about that. So always, if you're going to have a big stack of like Alexander Henry, you better promote that you're going to have it. That one sells pretty good no matter what. But like Cafe, not everybody loves Cafe. You've got to have the Cafe people there to get it bid up. Otherwise, only two people want it and only one of them has money that day, you're screwed, right? You're going to get a low price. So, be careful about when you sell stuff. And then something about selling at $10 per half yard. Not sure what that's about. Okay, yeah, put it in your notes, put it in videos, all those things. Is it wrong for me to put one of my muted words is promote? No, if you feel like that's something that you're having an issue with, heck yeah. Hey, Andy, good morning. How are you today? Our famous fabric mod. Hide the bird fabric. Yeah. See, I'm lucky because Bert's color, A, he's colorblind, and B, what he thinks is cool and exciting isn't always what is. And so sometimes, I don't have as many problems with that. And I'm usually the one who does a lot of the sorting in our house. Where I was off and then it ended up reflected in my sales. Yeah. Yep. Okay, let me see. Let me catch up here, and Jean's eye is saying, listen to Draz. Okay. Yes, screenshot all the documents. Here's the thing about coming to shows like this, you guys. Okay. I can give you as much advice as I want. I can give you all the documents. I can do all this stuff to try and help you, but I cannot make you do it. Only you can make you do it, and only you can put in the time. I do this full time. Jean's Eye does this full time. We hardly sleep. It's a lot of work. It is not for the weak to do this. If you want to be successful on this app, you have to put in the time and make it happen. End of story. So don't come into shows like this and have a tude about, nobody comes to my shows. Nobody's bidding my stuff up. Man, man, wah, 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 wah. I don't want to hear it. Why? Because you're not doing what it takes to make it happen. If you want to make it happen, make it happen. I've given you all the information. I'm showing you the things that you can do. I'm telling you, and all the other sellers, go watch them. They're telling you by what they do, right? And I'm not trying to be rude. I'm just being blunt. I'm being blunt. If you want to be successful, it's all there for the taking. Grab it and go for it. If you don't want to be successful, don't. It's up to you. I can't make you do it. Nobody can make you do it. Okay. And it is hard work and it is a constant, um, you have to be flexible. You have to be on the fly. Sometimes you have to switch out your whole show on the fly. You just don't know who's going to show up for your shows. You've always got to have backup plans. You got to read the audience. And if you can't keep up with that, it's okay. Maybe your level of success is I want to just be here, make a little bit of money to support my buying habits. Great. That's your goal. Write it down and focus on that. And don't be upset if you're not mega seller in 5 months, because that's not your goal. That's not what you're trying to achieve. Have a goal, write it down, make sure what you're doing reflects what you're trying to do. Okay. Andy says, I only go live when I'm in the right mindset because I wear my emotions on my sleeve. Exactly. And if you're that type of person and you can't go from, well, and Andy's a mom of 5 kids, you guys. When you're a mom of 5 kids, your emotions are on your sleeve 24/7. It's hard to, put life aside for a couple of hours to do a show. So, depending on what your life situation is, make it match what you're able to do and what you want to do. Please, please do that for yourself. Write down what you can do, what you want to do, and focus on that. And then when things change your goal. Okay. Because otherwise, you're just like, you're shooting yourself in the foot every day if you're not focused on what you can do and what's achievable and what your goals are. And you're sitting there going, look what everybody else is doing, and I suck. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that. Okay. Do what you can do, what you want to do, write it down. Bex Bin, oh my gosh, thank you for that generous tip. So kind of you. So kind of you. Andy is adorable and she mods for everybody because that's something she can do and still watch kids and everything. And she's interacting in the community. And when things change a little bit more for her, she can maybe go more, you know, and do more. Okay. How do you retrieve your chat after a show to review? You do not, sadly. But here's one thing you can do if you want. So on your, I don't know if you can do this on Android, but on an iPhone, you can do a screen record. So it's in your little settings where you do swipe down to get your flashlight. It's one of the options. It's a little, let me see if I can show you what the emoji looks or the little symbol is. It's like a little, I don't know, Google it. So it's called screen record. Screen record. Someone type that in chat. Screen record. Um, so look up on Google how to do that on your phone. If it's an iPhone, it's in your little swipe down settings with your flashlight. Turn that on before you go live, and then it actually records the screen if you want to do that a couple of times. And instead of just the video back that you get on Whatnot, which doesn't have chat, it's actually recording the screen and you can see the chat. That's one way you can do it, but otherwise it's not available. Yeah. I would love it if they would make it available, but that's, I mean, it's a matter of algorithm or not algorithm, bandwidth and being able to store all the data. Yeah, Android. So Google screen record, and then on iPhone, it's screen record. Jean says I use my recorder on the computer and have the show open and muted. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, there's also a way to do it on your laptop. Okay. Little video camera. Yep, there you go. Okay. Whatnot holds your shows for a while you can look back on. Right. So you can go watch past shows easily. Just go to Seller Hub shows, past shows, click on the show, you can watch it. Okay. But it doesn't show the chat. It's just the audio and the video. Okay. Faye West says, I've never done a giveaway. Don't know why I'm worried. I can't do it right. What do you mean you can't do it right? Are you trying to still do the envelope shipping? Message me and call me. We can do a phone call and I can show you how to do it if you're trying to figure that out still. Let's see. I was thinking of using a second device to record my show. Yeah, you definitely can try to do that. Okay. Let's see. Someone asked me to do a private show. Why and what's involved? A private show is just where you schedule it. When you schedule it, you mark that it's not viewable to public, and then you share the link with anyone that you want to come to that private show. They're probably asking for it because they want you to be able to sell them some stuff without the audience there. It's up to you. I've done a couple of them in the past where I was rewarding frequent buyers before we had the rewards program. I actually had some buyers that I rewarded them by having a private show where they could buy stuff without having to bid, against other buyers. And I let them buy some stuff that way. It's something you can do to reward your frequent buyers. So I know some sellers who have the rewards program have said things like people who reach the highest level, they'll do a private show. Another reason you might want to do it is to reward your moderators, to have a private show and let them buy some stuff for $1 or something to reward them for all the work they do. That would be a nice thing to do. Private shows also are a tool for you as a new seller to learn how to run a show without the public coming in yet. So you schedule it as a private show and you invite your family, your friends, your moderators. And I would advise you to do this as a new seller. Have a private show, sell some stuff so that you actually can learn how to do the shipping. So have your friends and neighbors buy a few little things. You can just sell them a few things for $1 or something, and then you get to do the full fulfillment, and it works to help you learn how to do it. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't show the chat. Let's see. Your boy's up and ready for breakfast. Yeah. Have a great day. Have a great day. All right, let's see. Let me see what else. Let's see. My earrings. Yeah, these are Whatnot earrings that were made by someone on Whatnot who does them on their 3D printer. They're really cool. And I'm noticing they're starting to get chipped a little bit because I wear them a lot. But I'll have to find a new pair. Plus, my granddaughter likes to pull on my earrings. So I think she's grabbed these a few times. Okay, let's see. Did I answer any questions that people had about did everyone get what they needed about the recording? Everybody is welcome. I love to teach. I love to train. That's my background. So I definitely hope you're all getting something out of it. Backspins. I want you to private show to have a resell or sell only, since I have so much stuff all the time I'd like to sell to sellers. Yeah. So yeah, do a reseller show for sure and do it private and advice only, and you can just have those people in there that you want to have in there. It's a great idea. Hey, Silver Drip, welcome in. Everyone say hi to Silver Drip. He is Kenny on Whatnot Community Sellers, on Whatnot Sellers. And he sells on here, he sells Hot Wheels, die-cast Hot Wheels. I saw a Facebook post the other day. I almost messaged you because I saw someone here in Utah selling their whole die-cast collection, but then I was like, that's pretty far. I almost messaged you. It was like someone was selling their whole collection. Let's see. I've had buyers ask for a private show because I had abundant inventory. Yeah. Okay. And they wanted to see it. Snag it all. I declined. Yeah. So if someone's asking just for that to try and take advantage, of course you aren't going to want to do that. So screen record is what we were talking about. So on Android, it's Google Google, what was it? Google something. And then on iPhone, it's screen record, and it's in your little. So when you swipe down from the corner to get your flashlight on your phone, it's in all those little, it's one of the little icons. and it's a little, looks like a little camera lens, and that can screen record. Yeah. And then on Android, it's Google Record or something like that. Yeah. Granite is getting ready for first show tomorrow, trying to figure out how to get two devices to work together. So you go you open, you don't go live, you open the show on both devices first, and then you go live from the one that you're going to stream from. Okay, so you don't go live on both, you only go live on one device, and it's the device that you're going to stream from, so the camera. Whichever one is the camera, which you for most people that's going to be a phone. That's the usually the best option. So you go live from the phone, you have it open on the other devices, and then on the other devices you usually have to silence it. So like on my laptop right here, see the little let me focus in on this here, right here. See that little sound thing? If I see that, how we get feedback if I don't have that silenced. So if you're using a laptop, silence the sound. If you're using another phone, like this Android phone that I use to mod with, you click the little three dots and it gives you the option to silence it. So here we go. See how that works? Okay. So you do have to mute the other devices so that you don't get feedback. All right. Just the record tip made your whole show worthwhile. That was an awesome tip. Oh, good. Good, good, good. All right. So, what's your homework? Did everyone remember what your homework is from this show to help you learn how to attract and keep buyers? Okay, so the 5 F's, everybody screenshotted this, right? That's not your homework, but you need to have this screenshotted because this is what you need to look at regularly to make sure you're doing all these things, right? But your homework is to go and read the article on what not frequently asked questions that is titled Understanding How Discoverability Works on Whatnot. Go read that. And then you also need to go to YouTube and watch Kenny, who was just here in the chat, on this show. So you need to go to the Whatnot app. So you go to YouTube and you have to search for it because it is hard to find otherwise because there's so much on content about Whatnot that if you don't type it in as their actual address, so it is at Whatnot app. See how I typed that in? And it's this official Whatnot YouTube channel. So click on that and you want to watch this show right there. There's Kenny Silverdrip and there is Colleen, who is the Whatnot project manager. And she talks a lot about how the algorithms work, and these are basically the things she said, but she gave a little bit more insight without divulging company secrets, right? So go watch those two things or read that article and watch that interview. Okay. Show notes. Make sure you read and screenshot my show notes. The most important thing about selling on this app, can I show this one again? Okay, let me pin it again on the screen because I have it in color on this right here. Where is it? Right here. Okay, pinning it again. So on your screen, you can just tap. So it's pinned right there. You just tap this, boom, tap it again, blow it up, take a screenshot. There it is in full color. Okay. So, what was I saying? Yeah, homework. And then the other homework I mentioned is to go watch the 10 shows, right? Go watch 10 shows, have a pen and paper, And you're going to write if you want to, you can write their username. So username, and then you're going to have a column that says, why did I want to stay? And then you're going to have another column that's, why did I want to leave? So why did I want to stay? Why did I want to leave? Watch 10 shows, write their username. Why did I want to stay? Why did I want to leave? Don't share this publicly and embarrass other sellers. This is your own homework, right? So why did I want to stay? Why did I want to leave? And you're putting on your buyer hat, and it's going to give you a lot of insight about how to get people in your shows and how to keep them in your shows. Okay. The moving phone makes you want to leave. Yes. Yeah, it's like you go into a show and they're like, whoa, and you're like dizzy before you even got 5 seconds in, right? That happens though, because a lot of times when we open shows, we're trying to get everything set up. Can everyone bookmark my show? I will return the favor. Sasa Mom sells fabric every Monday. So yes, everyone bookmark Sasa Mom, follow her as well. And do that for everybody here in chat today, because we've got a lot of sellers in the fabric category here. Please follow each other. Everyone that is an active seller, let's do it right now in chat. Put an emoji that you use or that you like. Everyone that is a seller in the fabric and crafting categories, or in any other category as well, put emojis. Okay. Follow each other. Go bookmark each other's shows. It's something you can do for each other to be part of the community, right? And while I'm thinking about it, so the 5 F's, we're talking about attracting and keeping buyers, right? But if you haven't screenshotted my top 10 tips before, I've had this for over 2 years now, as something I share. Make sure you have this as well, this screenshotted. Okay. It's really just the basics outside of shipping. These are all the basic things you need to be doing if you want to have good trajectory as a seller and build your business. Okay. Those things. So make sure you have that one screenshotted too. Top 10 tips. What advice can I give on lighting? What does everyone use? Let me show you what I actually have. I hate ring lights, big time. And right now I'm bugged because that hallway light is on in my house and it's behind my head and it's bugging me. Don't do that. Let me go turn it off, in fact. Because it's in my stairwell and I turned it on because it was dark this morning, right? But I'm not selling in this show, but that would bug me. Okay. So the light that I have is this kind, but that's a bigger investment. Ring lights are cheap, but here's how to use them and not have them be super annoying. Use them more as ambient light instead of right in front of you. Have them on the sides instead of in front of you, because ring lights cast a glow and also reflect off of glasses. So sides instead of right in front. And also, here's another tip. If you have a room that you are able to dedicate to your shows, put daylight light bulbs in all the lighting. They're called daylight. So when you go to Walmart or whatever to buy light bulbs, buy the ones that are daylight, because it's a more white, bright light, and it will light up your room better. Another one is if you can position yourself where you have a window, if you're doing shows during the day, if you have a window that can be on the side, open it and have the light ambient onto the side, but not in front or in back. That's another tip. Okay. But yes, 3-point lighting so that you've got some on sides and back, behind the camera, so that you've got the whole area lit up, but not right in front of you. Okay. So, yes. That is my advice about lighting. And I already had that light before I started selling on Whatnot because I've been reselling for so many years that before they made light boxes and all those fancy other things, I had already purchased that years ago. And it was a really good investment because I actually have two of them and I've used them just constantly. So that was a good investment. So if it's something you can afford to invest in, some kind of studio lights, if you need them, it's worth it. It's worth it. All right. Let's see. Anything else that I'm missing? Hey, Christine is in the house. Welcome in. My friend Christine C. White's in AZ. So everybody that doesn't know Christine Hearing Crafts, let me pin her name in the chat really quick. Um, oh, I forgot it doesn't let you do that on here. I have to do it on the mobile device. So here we go. There she is. She just gave us hearts. So she was on the app for a long time, way back when we first started selling, and she started selling, and then she took a break, and she's back selling, and we love her. She's the sweetest and most awesome and one of the most creative. She makes beautiful items as well. So make sure you've got her followed and bookmark a show. You've got a show today, I think, right? Are you having it or tomorrow? Tomorrow. Okay, so tomorrow evening she's got a show scheduled. So everyone make sure you have that bookmarked for her because she's adorable. Let me show you on here. One of my most favorite sellers, honestly. Truth in that because she's just so sweet. So here we go. I'm on Bert's mod phone, but there's Christine's profile right there. And she has amazing shows. And her display, talking about beautiful displays, she always has beautiful displays. So when you come into her shows, it's like you're in Christine's world and it's beautiful. So we all should emulate that. So you were going to do it today, but something came up. Okay, cool. So you've got it scheduled for tomorrow. Awesome. All right. Let's see if we have anything else anyone wants to talk about. Do you guys feel like you got a good amount of information about how to get people in your shows? And did I achieve that of how to get people in your shows and keep them there? We talked a lot about algorithms. We talked a lot about, what you're doing in your shows, running your items, utilizing your buy it now, having things listed so people want to come and see what you have and stay. Because, honestly, when you schedule shows, right, that's the number one tip, schedule shows. But people start looking at those shows coming up. And if you have nothing listed, in your auction or your buy it now, why do they want to come? Why would they bookmark your show? Okay, you got to have something, some reason for them to want to be there, and then of course going live and then all the things that help you get up in search, all the algorithm things. You have a good standing, you provide good customer service, your shows are fun, you're fast paced, you're running your crap, and you have good stuff to show. All those things are important, right? But just all those things combined, there's not one magical pill about how to get people to come to your shows and stick around. There's a lot of things you need to be doing, a lot of prep, back, and consistency of things you need to be doing. So hopefully you got a lot of good information today that's going to help you. And yeah, it's hard work. It's hard work. But Amazon has sets of those lights for under $100. There you go. These are an LED and they're not that they don't get very hot, this kind. So whatever I bought originally is still pretty good. So yeah. Any advice on random pulls and which weights brackets to use? So random pulls, I mean, most of us do random pulls. We have, because you can't list every single thing you sell. It's just, you just don't have time, right? Most of us do random pulls. So I personally think it's important to try and get the weight correct. So I have generic listings I use by weight. So I have one that says, fabric 4 to 7 ounces, fabric 8 to 11 ounces. And I use the random weights because it works pretty good for me. But I do almost all shows at flat rate, buyer pays max 921. That's what I do because I sell mostly fabric and crafts. It works. Okay, so it just depends on what you sell. And then, on the back end, I try to sell it at the lowest possible weight so that it's not overcharging. But once they hit a pound, so once they've bought, basically 3 or 4 items, depending on the weight, they hit that pound and then it really doesn't matter. They can buy as much as they want. And that's kind of the idea. But more and more, I still have people come in that buy only 1 or 2 items. The economy's kind of in the toilet right now, and people are not happy that our government can't get their head out of their butts and get a budget. And so people are nervous about the economy. So if you've noticed a slowdown, it's real. It's legit. People, when the economy sucks and the government is weird and doing stupid stuff, and other governments are doing stupid stuff like China, we all get a little bit nervous about the economy. And so, we have to make decisions about our money. And so you have to do creative things to sell more, like stay on longer, go live more frequently, to combat that. But you've got to have stuff listed for people to want to come. You've got to have an on point thumbnail. You've got to have a title that reflects what you're selling, and you've got to have some things listed. And then use those generic, thank you for your purchase. You've got to have generic listings that reflect the weight, and then you just use those for your random sales. Yeah. Let's see. I've been on a show, a couple of them that have where you can take and buy from Marketplace. Why not? And other source on all your auctions. I've been on a show, a couple of them that have where you can take and buy from Marketplace and then source all your other. I'm not sure what you're saying, Graham's Quilt and Things. I think you're talking about where they can buy on the Marketplace as well. Yeah, I'm not sure. Okay. Could you really quickly show people how to post more than one of the same thumbnail? There's a lot of people with only one show posted. Yeah. So when you add a show, when you create a show, you can create up to 10 shows all at once. So go to your main profile. Okay, so here's your main profile, Seller Hub. Okay, so I'm in my Seller Hub on a mobile device. Schedule a show, right? Boom. I'm going to schedule a show. You give it a name. It's going to be an amazing title that brings people in. Succinct words tells them what you're selling, maybe an enticing word that indicates, you know, pricing or bundling or, whatever. Okay, give it a title. Then you have a date. And if you want it to be something you schedule once a week or twice a week or once a month, put the date and the time that is the one you're gonna repeat. Okay, and then you've got moderators, and then right under that is this weird little box that says does not repeat. I think people don't even realize what it is. I kind of wish they would retitle it to do you want to repeat? Question mark. I don't know. And then you drop this down. Right now the default is does not repeat. If you want to do a daily show, a weekly show or a monthly show. So let's say we're going to do it once a week. So we click weekly. So one time a week. You can also change this to more than once a week if you want to. Okay. And then ends after number of shows. That's where we get to put in the number of shows, either on date or after number. If you do on date, it would change it to doing it by date. Okay, and we want to do up to 10 of these with the same setting. So I'm just going to do the plus sign, see here, till I get to 10. So it allows you to do 10 shows. All right, and then you're going to put in your thumbnail and a video if you want to, and just finish filling this in and save it. And then when you save it, instead of creating one show, it creates 10 or 5 or however many you told it to create. Okay. And it can be daily, weekly, or monthly. All right. That's how you do it. All right. Was that good? Did that explain it? Is there a way you can add giveaways in bulk? Yes. So you just change the amount, the units. So when you're adding a giveaway, you just do, so create a product. So create a product, and then your type of product is going to be, oh, whoops, I can't do that. I'm there. I have to do it inside the show. Okay, so inside the show, you do add. So I'm going to create a product, right? So create a quality listing, and then it's a giveaway. So I'm going to select giveaway, right? And then you're just going to put a multiple units. So just make sure you add multiple units. So like if you want 10 giveaways in that show that are all the same, just do that before you save it. And you can do that with both follower giveaways and buyer giveaways. Okay. So just add the units before you save it. Once you've saved it, you can edit follower giveaways and change like the picture, but it won't allow you to change the units. So always do the units before, because you can't go in and add more units on a giveaway. And giveaways disappear. Once you've had your show, if you didn't run them, they're a temporary listing. They don't save. They used to save, but they don't save because technically a giveaway is, by law or by terms of service, supposed to be given away and be gone. And so they don't save. So yeah. If we buy something from your store, we get a copy of this show, correct? Yes, you do, but you also can just go watch it on YouTube. So you don't have to buy something to be able to watch. So go to my show notes. And in my show notes, the third paragraph has a little talking head right there. So that little talking head is my YouTube address, and you can go to YouTube and go to my lives and rewatch my live shows. And I do multicast on YouTube. Sometimes the multicast is not working perfectly and is glitchy, and it doesn't have me on there live, but it does eventually show up. So here's my account. So I have the same logo on YouTube. This is my YouTube account. And if you go to live right here, those are the saved shows. Okay. And we're actually on right now. So this is the show we're on right now, but it's not showing live, but it will be saved and updated. So you can rewatch it right there. Okay. So you don't have to buy anything to do that. Let's see. Oh, awesome. Yeah, screen record would work also if you want to screen record a show. Can the giveaway be a mystery gift? So technically, yes, But if you do a mystery gift, just make sure that the way that you run it, you're showing it right before so that people know what the giveaway is. Because technically you're supposed to be giving away what you're giving away. Meaning you can't like do a giveaway and not tell anyone what it's going to be and they just randomly get something in the mail. So it can be a mystery gift or something they can choose it, meaning you don't have to list it specifically, but you can decide during the show what you're going to give away. Is that, I think that's what you're saying, but you should be showing what you're going to give away and then that's what they get, because that's an important feature of giveaways is that they get what you said you were going to give. Okay, because you don't want to get bad reviews or be against terms of service for not giving away what you said you were going to give away, because there's been issues with that. Yeah. Okay. All right, I need to get going here pretty quick. Um, so I am on every Tuesday and Thursday mornings. Every Tuesday and Thursday mornings. If you find my chats helpful, I'm not in front of the camera. Rather, this is what I do. If you haven't joined me before, someone say in chat, what do I do every Tuesday and Thursday morning? So every Tuesday and Thursday morning, I do these shows and I'm on my treadmill walking and I have the camera on the treadmill dashboard. I have this iPad on the dashboard and I talk to you while I walk. And it's a way for me to get my exercise in and still give back to the community. So I walk on my treadmill while I chat with you guys. You can ask questions. I'll show you things. It's not going to be my face. I'm not going to be able to do in-depth stuff, but I share all my documents and I share new updates and I talk about whatever anyone wants to chat about. And so, if you find my advice helpful and you want to chat, just come every Tuesday and Thursday mornings. I'm on at 7:45 Mountain Time. Okay. All right. There have been a few close calls, Beck's been, I'm not going to lie, because I would be like talking and want to show someone something. But I have my treadmill has this little key thing that you hook to your clothing so that if you accidentally fall, it pulls that out and shuts off the treadmill. And I've never fallen yet. There's always a first time, please no. That would be horrid. Everyone would be like calling emergency on whatnot. Call 911. Dana fell off the treadmill. So yeah, hopefully that won't ever happen. Because it would be the worst if you fall and it's still going and you're like unconscious, bumping your head or something, right? That would be horrid. Okay. Yeah, my treadmill's pretty quiet, so it's not too noisy. All right, I need to get going. Did I miss anything? Let me just check and make sure if you know. And yeah, you can message me, Backspin. Just message me on chat if you have a question. I'll try and help. I don't do like paid consultations or anything like that. I literally don't have time. But I'm happy if you have little questions you want to ask, just message me and I will respond. And yeah, and mostly just come to my chats because usually you can find out what you need there. You too, Christine, and I'm excited to be in your show tomorrow. So we're excited to have you back for sure. How do you find mods? I just see that I missed that question. Honestly, it's organic. You find people that have been in your shows regularly, that you love, that support you, that you've learned to trust, and you ask them if they would like to moderate and just make them a moderator. And then there's, in shows like this, just ask, is there someone who would love to moderate and exchange, I'll mod for you, you mod for me kind of deal, and make sure it's someone that you look at their account, you learn a little bit about them, you can trust them, try them out, And that's how you find moderators. It's usually pretty organic. You make a friend, and then sometimes you have family or friends that are willing to do it as well. Um, let's see, can't book more shows till after your first show. I just learned it's a new thing. Can't book more shows till after your first show. Is that true? That you can't, it literally won't let you bookmark or schedule 10 shows at a time until you've had your first show? Someone verify if that's true, I'll ask. But I didn't, if that's true, that's a new to me as well. Yeah. All right. Um, what was this one? There's something in here about, oh, it's not scrolling backwards. Okay. If there was a thing I missed, someone say another teacher said it was a new thing. Okay, so I'll ask about that. Um, was that what someone was saying to ask about? Because I just missed that question. Let's see. Yeah, the walk and talk on the treadmill. If I was to clone a show, will it add giveaways as well if I had the giveaways? Yeah, no, it will not. Giveaways don't save. That's one of the things that don't save. You can't clone giveaways. It only clones over previous items that didn't sell. Yeah. Okay. All right. I need to go and I'll send that recommendation to the new development team. Is there a way you can add giveaways in bulk? Send that recommendation to add giveaways in bulk. Yeah, you just add them by viewing the units. So yeah. Okay, that was the one I was trying to find out what it said. Okay. Thanks, you guys. And those of you who got these cute little bookmarks, I'll try and get some more made. And I also made coasters one time that were really cute, but this was what I made yesterday. I had time to make. So enjoy those that one. And thank you so much, you guys, for being here. Appreciate you more than you can know. You cannot buy this fabric any longer. It was a one-time deal. They made some fabric. I don't know. I can ask if they still have some sitting in a closet somewhere, but I doubt it. I think they sold it all or gave it all away. But and I can't officially sell it because it's a licensed fabric, but I can make things out of it to give away. So, yeah. All right. Thanks everybody. Oh, yes. Whatnot is um doing, or Faye West, sorry, Faye West is interviewing a reworker's passion Monday. So, and she is an amazing, amazing motivational seller. So let me pull that up so everyone can bookmark it. Faye West, I'm glad you mentioned that because they're going to want to go there. Okay, so everybody follow Faye West. She's doing this fun thing where she's interviewing sellers live on her chat. So on Monday, here we go. And she did this with me. It was so much fun. So on Monday, she's doing open mic with a reworker's passion. So make sure you have that show bookmarked and then also bookmark her other shows. She has amazing stuff that she makes and jewelry. And I happen to have, let me grab the bookmarks and that I got from you that I love. Because I have them here because I'm going to do 2 of these as giveaways in a raid train that I'm participating in next week. So look at these bookmarks she made, you guys. They're so cute. So she took like a vintage quilt and cut it up. And then she does this, is it like a sublimation on the bookmark and put the grommet in. How cute is this? And then these are the ones I'm going to give away because they're sewing themed and it's a sewing theme raid train, right? How cute. And look what she made for. She put my logo on a coaster for me too. I love it. So yes, Faye West has amazing stuff that you're going to want to buy. And she's also interviewing people. live in her shows, and A Reworker's Passion is next. So go bookmark that. All right, you guys, I need to go. I love being here. It's so much fun, and I love sharing and helping. And we're going to go do one of the things that you should always be doing, which is raiding when you finish a show. It's one of the funnest things about Whatnot is getting to raid into someone else. And since we're in quilting sewing fabric, we're going to pick a fabric seller to raid into today. And we are going to go raid into our friend Susan Lawn. Has 6 people in the room. She's doing half yards and new reproduction fabrics. So here we go. Thank you so much, everybody. Appreciate you. And let's create a raid. Andy is looking to put together, let me pull this up before I read that fully. All right. So Andy is looking to put together, let's see, cross-category raid train for stocking stuffers. Ooh, that would be fun. Yes, definitely. I'd be interested. So I will message you. And anyone else that, are you doing an open invitation to everybody or just to me? Let us know. All right. And let's get that raid started. Mwah. Thank you guys. Have a wonderful day. Make it a great day.